Welcome to the Oklahoma Outdoor Adventures Podcast, brought to you by Yellow Hat Outdoors. All right, welcome everybody to the first episode of our podcast here. My name's Glen Adams.
I'm Hudson Haws.
And, we're just going to talk to you guys a little bit about some hunting and fishing stuff in Oklahoma. We're super passionate about everything outdoors in our state. I think it's severely underrepresented, the level of resources and the things that we have present. And, me and Hudson have been talking about ways that we can get more people outside. So both of us are just so passionate about anything, just getting out in creation. And so we thought, hey, what better way to get a little podcast going, get a little discourse going?
Sure.
Talk about some of our favorite things. So, our goal with this whole thing is, probably to provide some entertainment, pass those boring days at the office when you're just crunching numbers, maybe pass by your drive on the weekend out to the deer lease. I don't know, maybe you're just playing video games stuck inside while you're sick and you're like, man, I need something besides some screaming kids in my ear. So I don't know where this will fit in for you, but I think both of us very much feel like it's an underutilized space, especially in Oklahoma. There's plenty of hunting podcasts out there. We listen to them. We watch, the YouTube channels. But I felt like there was a space in Oklahoma, and so hopefully that we can kind of fill this void. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And, like Glenn just said, we want this to be entertaining, but we want it to be a little educational too. We want to be able to help people either who are avid hunters just to kind of get a better sense of kind of the science behind things in terms of conservation, and also just those people who are looking to learn how to hunt. We want to provide something for you guys to be able to get the knowledge to be able to go out there and just do it yourself. And it's an absolutely wonderful thing.
Yeah.
If you're able to go out there and, just down to the basics, you can provide food for your family if need be. And that's a powerful thing, especially in this day and age.
Yeah. I think it makes you feel like a man.
Absolutely.
If you're a guy, and I think there's a lot of women that are wanting to get into kind of the outdoors and hunting and fishing because they view it as providing for their family as well.
Absolutely.
I think it's really cool, and I think there's a whole generation of people that have been inspired by Meat Eater, big time TV show put on Netflix, and a lot of times the hunting or fishing stuff, you get the animal rights activist, PETA, tree hugger, kind of really extreme folks that get really upset about it. And I think that the reason that hasn't happened too much with the Meat Eater stuff is because I think they kind of struck a chord with people. They're not just going out there and killing things. They do a good job of showing, that connection.
Yeah.
But I think people see that and they're like, gosh, that looks awesome. That backstrap sizzling in that pan looks good. But then they're like, okay, well, how do I get out there? If you don't know anything about it, it's really hard to get out and hunt or, get out and fish. So
yeah, if you don't grow up doing it, if you don't have, both of our dads, both big outdoorsmen, taught us a lot on hunting and fishing and stuff. But, if you don't, a lot of people don't grow up with that. And so it can seem like a daunting thing to get into. And, I think we're seeing kind of a surge of that at the moment. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And that is a thing. We're both extremely fortunate and understand that not everyone gets to have a dad in their life, or maybe a present dad in their life, or a close family member or family friend that wants to take them hunting. And so, there's lots of programs and stuff for kids to kind of get into it. And me and Hudson can only take so many people out. I've got friends that literally rip me apart because they're like, oh, you keep saying you're going to take me hunting and you never do. And I'm like, well, I got a whole list of people that want to go. And it's hard to like kind of make that happen. So that's kind of one thought for a podcast is like, well, if we can't take you, like maybe we can equip you a little bit, give you some ideas, some pointers, and hopefully like some confidence to get out there and do whatever you want to do outside. So
yeah, absolutely.
I watch my dad, like he's been in the fly fishing industry for 35 years now, and I watch him like at his shop, and he sells people, fly fishing rods, flies, waders, all the works that go into that. And it is so cool to watch him, like someone comes in and they're like, hey, I want to learn how to fly fish, and he just lights up. Like
I went in there the other day. I've never fly fished before. My dad's fly fished before, but it really, we just kind of went for like largemouth bass, especially here in Oklahoma. Like that's the big kind of thing to fish for, that and like catfish and stuff. But the big sportsman's thing is largemouth bass, and so I never really got into fly fishing, and I never tried it. And I was taking a trip to Colorado, and I was like, you know what, I would love to try and get into it, just knowing Glen, knowing his dad. And his dad's got his new own fly shop here in Oklahoma City. And so I took a little trip down there, went to go, thought it was going to be just kind of didn't really know how complicated it would be.
It's a little quick in and out visit. That's how it usually goes.
Yeah, a little quick in and out. I ask Glen's dad one question, and it was 20 minutes of just pure knowledge. And it wasn't like one of those things where you're like, oh my gosh, like, okay, like I didn't need to know all this. It was like I was locked in. And it was so, there's so much to know about all these different disciplines in the outdoors world, whether that be hunting, fishing, whatever your kind of game you're going for. But yeah, I mean, so I caught my first fish out in Colorado using Glen's dad's flies and his technique. I even used his pole. I got to head back there and get another pole before probably spring, because I'm going to be deer hunting mostly, and deer, and we're gonna go kill a turkey this year too.
Yes, so, we will.
But
for sure.
Yeah, gonna need to go out there and get myself my own pole so I can tear it up on the trout and whatever else I can get. But
yeah, and I mean, this is a time of year, I think, like primarily my mind's going, it's deer season. Let's break out the blaze orange. Let's join the orange army in the woods, tromping around.
Absolutely.
Our red flannels, But also, like, this time of year is fall turkey, next month. It's waterfowl's opening up next month, which I'm super jacked about. I don't get too amped up for deer hunting, but I love me some ducks and geese and stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of our buddies are, Glen included, but a lot of our guys are big waterfowl. We got a buddy who guides professionally up in Kansas, and I've never waterfowl hunted. I've gone bird hunting, dove and turkey and stuff, but it's kind of, waterfowl's like I don't know. It feels like it's a religion almost. It's
a cult kind of.
It's a cult. That's what I should say.
Yeah. And it's really weird because like I feel like the culture of it, I hope, but I feel like it's kind of changing. Like the last like probably 5 years, I feel like social media is literally like post a pile of like 50 to 75 geese, and then like they just get thrown in the back of a truck and drove around for 5 days and dumped in a ditch somewhere, and it's just like, it's like been this whole thing of just like, let's pound as many ducks and geese as we can, like we're going to stack them up, take this sweet picture, get all these likes on Instagram. And like I feel like there's a little bit like of a resurgence. Like people are wearing like, they're like, oh, well, we don't need to be, camoed up head to toe. We don't need to be face painted. Like, let's wear some old flannels and let's, kind of tap into these old school roots.
Yeah.
You see like the rise of hand carved decoys, like kind of coming back. Like people are willing to carry some heavy wood around, per se. And like, it's just cool because like people are getting back to well, hey, if I shoot 3 ducks, like honestly, that's enough for a meal. Like if I bring home 6 ducks and 8 geese, like you could, on a normal day in Oklahoma, like what the heck are you going to do with 6 whatever that, I don't even can't do math, but 14 freaking birds, 28 breasts if you just breast them out. Like you can't eat all that in one night. So it goes in the freezer and shocker, you forget about it until your freezer dies and you smell a horrible smell and oh crap, there's those goose breasts from 1333, still in my freezer. So I just think like there's kind of a new resurgence and like, I mean, as cliche as it is, it's always fun to watch the sunrise and hang out with your buddies in the blind. Like that's what it's about for me. So
yeah, they don't call it, killing. They call it hunting. That's the
most cliche thing ever, but it's true.
But it is true. I mean, there's something about it, getting out there in creation, in nature, and just kind of witnessing it, and it's truly a beautiful thing. And I'll be hunting for whitetail, and I'll see 20 different species of animals out in the wild just doing their own thing, and it's really it reminds me of how people talk about going to live music. The people say live music is different than like listening to a recording, and that's the same with like nature. You can watch Planet Earth, which is amazing. Love Planet Earth. Freaking
yeah, dude. I freaking nerd out on some Planet Earth.
Sucked me into that for an hour, but being there and just seeing it with your own eyes and like observing is it's a really special thing.
Yeah, and just like you get to sit there and watch the forest come alive in the deer stand. Like get to see the sun rays start kind of filtering through. You get to see squirrels, which are the loudest things on the whole planet. Actually, hang on, what do you think is louder, an armadillo or a squirrel?
Armadillo.
Yeah.
Armadillo. I had a fat armadillo right outside my deer blind about a week ago. And we were going into it, and he just didn't see us, or I wasn't paying attention, nose to the ground. Armadillos are always just digging around for things, and I mean, we got within 5 feet of him, and this dude popped up, looked at us, and took off. And I mean,
at about 2 miles an hour, but with every ounce of his energy,
every ounce of energy he could, and it sounded like a howitzer sounding off in the woods. And I was just like, all right, well, everybody knows we're here now. But
there went every deer in the county.
Yeah. But that same night I killed one. So
yeah. Tell us about that. So you was that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was 2. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I go out to we have a lease out in eastern Oklahoma. And well, I mean, I say eastern Oklahoma. It's not super east, but
yeah. We can call it eastern. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah,
so
we'll call it.
Throw everyone off the trail of those giant deer you had on the camera.
Yeah.
Near Shawnee. Sorry.
Yeah, it's so we got out there, and so it's a little context. So the last year, I had shot a doe and with my crossbow, and before some of you bow hunting elitists come at me for this. I have a little background for that. I'm in a wheelchair. I got a spinal cord injury. I'm paralyzed chest down. So I use a crossbow, and I have a trigger system on there where I can pull the trigger with my mouth, biting down on a mouthpiece. It's pretty sweet. I killed an elk a couple years ago using that with a rifle out of the back of a truck. That's another story for another day. But we get out there. I had shot last year at this doe and didn't hit it very good, apparently, because this doe probably ran about 3 to 4 miles, ends up leaving the property. Bunch of hogs out there, never found it. Pretty disappointing. Just really, really frustrating. Both for me and the animal, because it's like, I want to harvest this animal, but didn't get to. Really, just really frustrating. So we get out there, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to shoot a doe. We got a lot of doe out there. The doe population is doing really good, and so need to harvest a doe. And me and my buddy Gibson are sitting in the blind, and we're just just being
BSing a little bit,
BSing around a little bit, and
vlogging.
Gibson looks at me and after we had just had some stupid joke that we laughed about probably too much, he says to me, Hud, I don't think we're gonna see anything out here. And then about 5 minutes later, these 3 doe pop up about 100 yards away on the other side of this field, come out of the creek, beeline towards the food plot, come in, and there's one of them was a real mature doe. So I'm like, okay, I need to take her, and she's immediately on us. She knows something's up. I was getting my crossbow in position, and I was probably moving a little too much. She kept looking over, and she starts stomping, and so I'm thinking, okay, well, jig is up.
Yeah,
she's
game's over,
and she's looking right at us, dead on, about 35 yards away. Then she starts blowing, and I'm like, okay, well, they're gone, but they're staying there, and she's blowing, and she's looking around, and she knows something's up. But there's some good food on the ground, and apparently they're hungry. And so she blows a couple times, eventually puts her head down. And so I put that sight on her, and she steps right into it. I fire, and I'm thinking I just smoked her. She's not making it 100 yards. Well, did not. Did not smoke her. Shot low. Good on the left to right. Hit her lower lungs, and actually blew a chunk of them out on the field that we found. And so I'm thinking, okay, I still didn't think I had shot low. I thought, all right, we're about to get a ton of blood. This is going to be a piece of cake. Well, not a lot of blood. Tracker, a little bit, kind of lose the blood. My dad, who was hunting out there, comes over. We start looking for her. This is after dark now, probably about 9 o'clock, because whenever he got over there, well, it was a little bit before that. But they end up. I'm in my normal wheelchair. I have a track chair that is literally like a tank, but I was in my normal manual wheelchair, so I'm hanging out in the field. I'm not going deep into the forest, and they go back there and they find her, but she's still alive and she's laid down, and she's been blowing out a lot of blood, but she's not dead, and she doesn't spook whenever they find her, so they back off. And we come back to the field, and so we're looking around for my bolt. We end up finding it, and gave her probably 20 to 30 minutes. And so my dad reloads my crossbow and takes it back there just in case he's got to put another one in her. They go back, she's gone. So then they find the blood trail, keep tracking her, find her again, immediately spooks, find her again, spooks off again. And then we take my car back around through the property, get down to a field, and go back in, and finally she's down. And before that, I was thinking where she's gone. Like, I don't think we're gonna find her, But thank goodness, she went down finally. The shot was less than 30 yards, and it blows my mind that I didn't put a better shot on her, because that's, frankly, for me, that's a little embarrassing.
Very, very embarrassing.
Very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. And anyways, we got her. We drug her out. We quartered her out. You can actually see a little video of that on our Instagram. But
Yellow Hat Outdoors.
But yeah, got some meat in the freezer, and that's the bottom line. So we're gonna be jerking some of that up. We got some backstrap ready to cook up, and
gosh, dude, nothing better than some backstrap.
Backstrap is something that everybody needs to have at least once in their life.
For sure.
It is choice cut meat.
Yeah. I think is it the tenderloin or like the fillet of deer? Do you know? Yeah, whatever cut of meat or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's really yummy.
Yeah.
So, which you said, so you guys usually just quarter it out, right? And don't gut it? Or does it just depend on
really
kind of
depends.
circumstances?
It really depends. So it took us a while to find that dough. It's getting pretty late.
Yeah.
And quartering out's a lot faster than gutting it. And we also didn't have my extender on the back of, so I have a Ford Explorer that's adapted to have a wheelchair in it and stuff. So we didn't have, the bed of a truck or the extender to put the deer on.
Gotcha. So you're trying to fit in ice chests and everything.
So we field dressed it and stuff, and
yeah.
So we just quartered it out. But that gets you a lot of jerky and a lot of backstrap.
Yeah, I love to hear that you got one and quartered it out and everything. So sometimes that's just the right move.
Yeah.
Just not worth it.
Yeah.
So, because I don't know. It just depends on timing. Like you said, sometimes if it's super late at night, that's just all you can do. Is just quarter it out.
Yeah.
Get as much meat as you can and call it a day. But
yeah, and that really gets most all of the meat off the deer. And then, especially being a doe, it's not like we're going to try to get the rack or anything like that. And, we got coyotes and stuff out there anyways. That gives them it goes to use somehow.
Yeah. My dream is to have like a little shop one day that I can just have in my like backyard or whatever and like fully be able to process it. I think it'd be so cool.
Yeah, we just bought, I say we, our buddy Rob and his dad Harold, who share the lease with us, bought it's a like harness system, kind of. Not a harness system, that doesn't sound right. It goes on the trailer hitch, and you can use it to hoist the deer up.
Oh yeah,
out there.
Yeah,
and so you can hang up the deer, and that makes it so much easier to clean and everything. And
literally just night and day difference on cleaning and everything. Yeah. We have at my cousin's ranch that we do a lot of deer hunting at. We have an old swing set. It's so like, it's just kind of like the A-frame. It doesn't have any swings on it anymore, but we have just like a pulley that we can hang up there, and it works out really good, actually. The problem is it's like super tall. I'm like, I don't know what kind of swing kids these were, friggin' giants or something, like Shaq's kids, but it's like probably 9 feet to the top of the pole. Like it's kind of hard to hook it on up there.
Yeah.
But luckily, you got the deer in the back of the truck anyway, usually, so I just back up and then stand on the tailgate or whatever. But yeah, we're going out. Not this weekend, but the next. It's kind of that in between weekend between black powder and gun season. And so, just a little background on myself. I'm not like a crazy huge deer hunter. I like to go. I like the social aspect of it. But usually, kind of each season, just me and my dad kind of split a deer. Whoever shoots one first, we just we'll get a process and then we'll just split the meat. Just because it's just me and my wife right now, so we don't go through just a ton of deer, just a ton of meat in general. So, but we're gonna go out in a couple weeks because one of my cousins is going through chemotherapy, so it's kind of like a good spot in between his treatments and stuff to go. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna sit in the stand and like crossbow hunt or what, or if I'm just gonna like bounce and go duck hunt. Like, there's a couple of public spots nearby, but I also like, I don't know, I'm gonna be that guy that's like full on rut that's just blasting ducks. So I'm trying to decide like if it's worth getting my tires slashed to go blast a few or what. But they have there's a wildlife management area out there, and then also Black Kettle National Grassland, huge 30,000 acres
Gosh.
of public land like to hunt on. So pro tip, pretty dang good for turkey hunting. I know turkey numbers are kind of down across the United States, and we could talk about a lot of ideas and theories about that because, quite frankly, I don't think anyone knows. Do you have any, like, what do you think it is?
Absolutely zero ideas over here.
Yeah. I've heard, like, a lot of people say because the fur trade's dying out, like, they would blame that, which I think maybe makes a dent because, you know, the whole predator-prey situation, that's just basic ecology 101. Like, that's how it works. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we can see that all around the United States. You can see it, like, I sent you a video. I don't know if anyone else saw it, but downtown LA, like, there's all these mountain lions that are like they're just around. Like, I think I sent you that video, downtown LA. It's like someone just filming in the street, and there's all these dogs barking at a literal mountain lion walking down the street.
Gosh.
And then there's two coyotes that are like barking at the mountain lion. It's like,
Oh my God.
what the heck? Like, we gotta get these predators like under control. Like, but there's like I forgot what it's called. So there's a Griffin Observatory in LA, and it's kind of like, you know.
If you've ever seen La La Land, I think that's the observatory.
Probably.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
Okay. It's a famous observatory. It's kind of like a famous little spot to go to, I think.
Yeah, it's super famous. That's like the one touristy place I went whenever I went to LA for one day, which was more than enough for me. But you can see like the Hollywood sign there and everything. But there's a big park there, and like there's been a lot of studies. Like, there's a lot of mountain lions. Like, there's like multiple mountain lions in there, and it's just kind of like, we're just encroaching on their habitat a little too much. They're a little too familiar with humans. And, like, we're seeing, like, a lot of these, like, kind of human-predator conflicts coming up. And usually doesn't turn out too well for the little dogs and cats that live around there. You know, they're just munching on them, so.
Yeah, my brother went to Pepperdine Law School out in Malibu, California, and
Malibu.
they had a mountain lion chase down a deer and kill it on campus
Oh my gosh.
in Malibu.
And
Yeah.
you know those friggin' Californians were like freaking the heck out.
Absolutely.
I'd be a little nervous myself, honestly.
Yeah, they sent out like an alert to all the students, I guess, when that happened. And it was like, hey, we have a mountain lion on campus that's hunting down prey right now. So
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
if you're under $150, don't go out there.
Yeah. Under a 10 point. Oh my gosh. But seriously, okay, hang on. So back to the turkey though. Predators, I've heard people talk about raccoons, possums, which, like, this is just a little aside. People always talk about how many like lice, or not lice, ticks possums eat. And like they do eat some, but if you think about it, like birds, like turkey, quail, things like that, eat primarily insects and other like little bugs and critters down in the grass. And possums eat primarily turkey eggs, quail eggs, other small prey. So it's like, yeah, I mean, they might eat a few ticks, but more than them eating ticks, it's the birds. So you should probably trap a few possums if you see them.
So you're telling me we shouldn't be as nice to the possums as some people are claiming that we should be.
Yeah, all I'm saying is, yes, they do help, but I think it's a little overhyped in that regard.
Possums are, I don't want to get too dramatic here, but possums are devil spawn.
Little dramatic, but they are scary. They've got some friggin' teeth on those suckers.
Yeah,
and
dude.
claws too.
Yeah, little side story. Back when I was young, with our buddy Landon, who will hopefully be on this podcast after he finishes his Highway Patrol Academy for the state of Oklahoma. He had his family lived out on some land out in El Reno, and they had a pond, and kids, we're walking all over the place, looking, hunting squirrels, doing whatever, and go down by the pond. There's this big opossum, and it's hissing at us. So classic young kids being invincible and everything. We grab a board with some nails in it. I don't want this to be too graphic here. And maybe we cut this, or it's staying in. We're keeping it in. We start beating it with this board, and we like a lot, and like it starts. It played possum, and we thought this possum's dead. We went off doing whatever. Come back by the pond a couple hours later. This possum's gone. Don't know how. I could have sworn there was a nail in its brain. I don't know.
But it disappeared.
It disappeared, and I was looking over my shoulder the rest of the time we were out there, and tell you that much.
Yeah. He's always watching you. Dude, can you imagine, like, just that? You see that friggin' zombie possum, like, walking around in the morning like you're going out to a deer stand or something?
It's getting some kind of bullet or arrow in it.
Yeah, it's getting a field tip right through it.
Not to say, no, everybody don't go out and start slaughtering possums. They're not going to be aggressive towards you unless you ask our buddy Rob, who
is terrified.
Terrified of possums, will shoot on sight if there is a possum.
No one hates him more than him.
No one hates he. Just no.
Yeah, I mean there's no denying that if you get rid of a few, it's good for turkey numbers and other small. Like, I don't think people realize how vicious raccoons are. Like a boar raccoon, like they are like wildly predatory. Like there's I've seen a few videos recently of them coming into coyote calls in the woods. Have you seen any of those? Like a 30-pound raccoon just full on sprinting and attacking. Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
So like if you think about it, like a big raccoon like that, like even a small like a newborn fawn, is like just like borderline like not off the table. Like if it's like, like probably once it's walking it'd be okay, but
a grown man in the wheelchair, borderline not off the table.
Straight up ringing the dinner bell for a big old boar raccoon. Coming on.
Hey, I wish one would come at me. It would be freaking clinic on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Clint Eastwood, but
Dirty Harry, tell you that much.
but like, dude, they're the real deal, and those little nasty heads that they got.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they're creepy, and
I hate how like how close to our hands they are.
yeah, it's weird. It's really weird, and they get into everything.
Yeah.
You know, we have a feeder that shoots out corn out at the lease.
Oh my gosh.
And this we got it on camera, big old fat raccoon comes out, climbs up the feeder. He's eating some corn. He decides he's going to open up the compartment where the battery's at. Opens it up, takes the battery out, and just throws it.
Little
So we just
shyster.
Literally, like, for no reason, just threw the battery and then just ran off. You know,
Oh my gosh.
they're just little troublemakers. And you know, if I don't know. Got
Yeah.
nothing to add on that.
Yeah. No, they are. There's a lady at my work, and her husband has literally declared war on them. Like, they have like 3 or 4 feeders, and those things go out there, and they've torn off like all sorts. Like, they buy all these like raccoon proof, you know, like covers for it and all this stuff. And I'm like, sorry, you just literally need to go out there and trap all those suckers and
Yeah.
send them to the afterworld. Make
Yeah.
some hats out of those bad boys, because Davy Crockett style, they need to go on to a different world. So, okay, hang on, we got off deep on a tangent there. So turkeys, predatory stuff, definitely I think plays a part in it. I think kind of like anything, a little bit of like habitat loss. It's like one of the driving factors for any population dropping. Just how humans are spreading out more, the way we farm. It's just not super conducive to wildlife, especially now that we're getting more efficient. We don't have those little scraps around the corners of fields and stuff. You know, there's that side of things, but I'm like starting to wonder if there is some sort of like chemical or something that we're spraying fields with that they're like super like allergic, like super bad about, or like kills them or hurts them, or you know, like is somehow like melting the eggs, you know, like they're like, you know, like DDT, like it did in the like a long time ago. Like I feel like there could be some other product. Pretty much that's just how the world goes environmentally. There's some thing that's horrible for the environment. We figure out how bad it is. We ban it after it kills a bunch of people or stuff. Then we come up with a new one. Don't know how bad it is until we do.
Yeah.
We ban it, and then we're, you know, back around.
Yeah.
You know, back around. So I don't know. I guess we'll leave it up to someone smarter than us to figure that out. But
Absolutely.
hopefully we do figure it out at some point. So, anyway, so whenever you're deer hunting this season, are you going to be mostly like on your land, any public? I think your dad is hunting some public land right now, right?
He's hunting McAllister. He got drawn into. There's an every year for every weekend of deer season, they do a drawing for hunting the McAllister Army Ammo Depot, and it's I don't want to say it's the largest, but it's top 2 largest ammo depots in the country for the military.
Yeah. I literally think it produces like all, if not almost all, of the munitions for the like United States military.
It's absolutely
the real deal.
It is the real deal. It's absolutely massive. McAllister, Oklahoma. Don't try and go in there without a pass or something.
You'll get blown up.
But they have a wildlife biologist that runs that place full time and maintains the land and everything. And they have a lot of deer out there, and not just a lot of deer. They have a lot of big deer out there. you can go on Facebook to the McAllister hunting page, and every year they have a most wanted list. And it's
Of just jumbotrons.
absolute massive bucks that are out there. I mean, state records, just insane. But you can put your name in for a drawing, and you can get drawn in to go hunt out there, and it's recurve only. And it's for the weekend, so Thursday, which is the day that we're recording this, you'll go out there, you'll have the mandatory meeting in the mornings, and then you will go out and you'll scout. They have 3 regions out there, just 3 regions, and you'll get drawn into one of the 3, and that's where you have to hunt.
Okay.
And so you'll go in and you get selected to whichever one, and then you're gonna pick on a map the little tiny area in that region that you're gonna hunt, that you're planning on hunting. And then you go out there on Thursday, which is today, and you're gonna scout, and you're gonna set up stands, and you're gonna do whatever, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's on.
Yeah.
And that's all you got. And I think this might be my dad's 5th time out there. And he's been putting in for a long time. It's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
To get in, to go
and
hunt out there.
And he shot some big bucks out there.
Shot some big ones, seen some big ones. I mean, but yeah, he's out there right now. He texted me right before we started this that he set up, I believe it was 3 tree stands and a deer blind. I don't. My dad is absolutely obsessed with deer hunting, and I have a sneaking suspicion that his favorite part of it might be setting up. Because growing up, we'd be hunting public land, we'd find 4 or 5 different trees that would be good. We'd call it the Tim Haws Death March, where we would walk miles into this public land, which, isn't bad because, it's an advantage to you if you're hunting whenever you're hunting public land. It's always going to be an advantage if you're hunting land that not a lot of people are willing to go into,
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest tips is just getting off the beaten path. Like, people don't work hard just in general. So especially if you want to up your chances of seeing stuff, farther off the beaten path you can be, the better usually.
Work harder than the other guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not just to say that you should just go wandering about, because with the technology we have nowadays, you can get greatly detailed maps of these public hunting lands, and you can pick out pretty good spots. You can find good benches, creek beds, all this stuff. I mean, even public hunting land in Oklahoma. I mean, the wildlife department will plant food plots out there.
Yeah, like begging you to come hunt it.
Yeah, I mean, I've sat on multiple food plots around Lake Tenkiller.
Yeah,
in public hunting land, I've seen an absolute stud run by me in the middle of the rut. That man was chasing a doe, did not stop once. I tried. I barked at him. I was pleading. I think I sent up a prayer to God in about 2 seconds. Didn't happen. He was an absolute stud. But anyways, back to McAllister. Yeah, he's set up and everything out there, and they're going to be getting after it tomorrow. He saw 4 groups of deer while he was scouting today, just out on a couple food plots out there. And on the drive back from the hunting land to the camp, which, just to reiterate, this place is massive.
Yeah.
It's huge. I wish I could tell you the exact acreage. You can probably look it up. Yeah. On the way back to the campground, which is on base, he saw 75 deer coming back to the campground just on the drive back.
That is literally insane.
It's truly a special place. And if you are in Oklahoma and you are a deer hunter and you have not been putting your name into that drawing to try and go out there, and I don't care if you don't shoot a recurve, if you get drawn in, you figure it out. You start practicing whenever you'll have some time to practice. You'll have several months to work on it. It's a place that everybody should experience.
Yeah. Well, and I have a totally different view on it because I've actually got to go out there and fish before. So
I wanted to fish it when I went out there. I haven't fished it.
It is sweet. So I got to go out there. So one of my dad's good friends, which actually he passed away like a year ago, which is pretty sad. He was I think oh gosh, don't quote me on this, but like a master chief or something in the Navy, probably fairly high up there. And whenever he was retired and everything, just lived here in Oklahoma City, and him and my dad would go out there and fish a lot. So, like, to give you an idea of how big it is, there's like 175 ponds and lakes on that place, which is like, you start kind of thinking about it, and it's not like straight water. Like, there's mostly trees and woods.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you a little bit of idea on the scale. So there's one big lake there, and then, like 175 of these small little ponds. And so it's so cool because you get on base, and, the first thing you have to do is give them all your paperwork, check in and everything. And they give you the whole rundown. We can pull you over at any time and search your truck. We can, there's absolutely zero tolerance for any firearms on base. The other thing is, like, you can't take pictures. Like, that's a big part of, the deer hunting and stuff. You can't take pictures. You can take it, like, obviously, if you shoot one, there's, like, a spot that everyone takes their pictures at. But you can't, you can't be taking pictures. Basically, literal, like, security threat level stuff.
Yeah, and also no fire-making equipment. If you have any, like, lighters or anything, or cigarettes or something, it's because it's a base full of munitions.
Bombs.
Yeah, literal bombs. Bunkers and bunkers and bunkers of bombs.
And, like, when you're driving around out there, like, you just see, like, a stack of crates on the side of the road that is literally like missiles.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing.
It's pretty surreal.
Yeah, there's all these bunkers around the edges that have this little railroad track. And, like, dude, they're just full of bombs or getting, transported one to the other, or bullets or whatever the heck is in there. I don't know, but it's crazy. But so anyway, whenever we went out there, we got there at probably like 7:30 or 8. It's a 3 hour, probably 2.5, 3 hours down there from Oklahoma City. So whenever we got there, let's just say it was 7:30 or 8 in the morning, and we pull in and go through all the checklists and everything, and they turned us loose, and so we parked near the big lake, got all our waders on, and made sure our float tubes were aired up and stuff. And so then you go and there's another checkpoint, and basically you kind of are like, hey, we're going to go to pond 37. And so you go fish pond 37, and there's all these phones all around. I can't remember exactly what they're for. I think it's kind of to coordinate, the movement of those munitions and stuff, and also probably just old school, if the cell phone towers go down or something. I'm sure it's like all underground stuff. But there's all of these phones, and each pond, has a number. So we started out at pond 37, and then, we went to, pond 60, and Tom, who we went with, he's fished this place forever. And so he's literally like showing it. He's like a kid on a candy store. And he's showing us on the map, this is the pond that I lost a 6.5 pounder in. This is the pond. And so anyway, we go around and we're hopping between these ponds. And it was the craziest thing. Like, you would be like, hey, we're going to go to pond 95. And they'd be like, because you have to call in every time you move because they're constantly tracking you.
Yeah.
Same thing with the deer hunting. You know, you have a little area. They're watching you.
Yeah.
And so you would be like, hey, we're going to pond 90. And they're like, nah, sorry, boss. You can't go over there. We're blowing stuff up. And it's like, oh, okay. But it's crazy. Like, you'd be on a pond and, like, you just hear, like, boom. And, like, you'd literally, like, sometimes almost, like, I don't know if I actually did or if I'm kind of just making up my memory, but literally see ripples on the water. Like, holy crap. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So we just float tube these ponds with our fly rods. We caught like 175 fish between the three of us. Like, just hammered fish all day long. It was so fun. My waders leaked bad. Like, I was just soaking wet. Like, just had the best time ever. So it was so fun. But then my brother, it's crazy. So classic, like, brother thing, I guess. Like, he never wanted to go hunting and with me and my dad, and so that's fine. Like, whatever, man. Like, he loves to camp and stuff with us, but like 3 years ago, he calls me. He's like, "Hey, so I got these guys at work that love to hunt, and I actually put my name in for the McAllister hunt." And I was like, "Great, man. Like, good for you." Didn't really think anything of it. And he calls me. He's like, "Dude, I got into the hunt." And I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I was like, okay, like your first freaking time, like you get into the stinking, like the holy grail of deer hunting. And I'm like, this guy's never like deer hunted with a gun, much less, you know, bow hunted, much less recurve hunted.
Yeah.
And so he like literally bought a recurve, and literally I've never seen, I guess I just didn't expect it, but this dude literally put in like 5 months worth of work in the backyard with the recurve. And so he's going out there, and I literally like gave him all my camo. I was like, dude, here you go. Like, this should keep you warm. Here's all the scent spray, scent killer, all this stuff. And so he goes out there, and what I love is like, he really like didn't super know what he was doing. You know, like you kind of get ideas talking to people, and you know, luckily the guys he had gone with deer hunt a fair amount, so they were kind of able to put him in a decent area. And so he literally, like, pretty much just tucked up under a cedar tree in this lawn chair, like, staked out, you know, like the camo netting around him. And the dude, like, ends up seeing, like, 25 deer, you know, over these 2 days. And then ends up smoking a 165-inch stud for his first deer. And
That's
I'm like,
insane.
I'm literally like, are you kidding me? So literally just gets on that place and just hammers like a giant, which they, for, you know, anyone that doesn't know, they measure deer by the inches. And so it's pretty much like the area of horn, essentially.
Yeah.
Excuse me, antlers.
Yeah.
Get crucified for that one. Horns don't fall off, antlers do. But they measure that out, so that's like a way that you can kind of, you know, compare your deer with other ones or the record books or that kind of thing. So it's just crazy, just shot like a trophy deer.
Yeah, I mean, people go their whole lives without killing a deer that big.
Yeah, people go their whole lives without killing one that big, and he does it for his first one. Literally puts my one and only buck, you know, in the dirt as far as antler size. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It kills me. So anyway, I was so stoked for him, but also I was a little bit deep down kind of like, seriously? Like, you dirty little rat. Of course, you just get this Jumbotron, so... But anyway, it's just awesome. It's actually been really cool, like, to see him get all into it. You know, really want to start hunting with us, and we had took him out the year before. I think he had started having a little interest. Just, you know, whenever people around you are talking about it, it kind of gets you fired up. You're like,
yeah,
it's like, it's kind of that. I think it's in your DNA, like, kind of as a man.
It
like
is.
You want to.
It's a primal thing.
Yeah, like you want. I shouldn't say kill. That makes me sound like a serial killer. But like,
You want to harvest an animal.
you do, yeah. You want to provide for your family. We already talked about this, but like, you want to do that. It is a deep down, like, innate biological desire, and to not recognize that is kind of not, I would say, lying to yourself almost. But that just made me think. So, like, whenever people around you, like, are talking about something and you want to do it too, I think about my buddy Brighton, which I don't know if you remember this story. So Brighton is one of those guys that, like, he's super, like, in the moment, like, social, like, just always wants to be plugged in. And in high school, like, we were deer hunting a lot. Freshman year of college, we all were gone all the time deer hunting.
Skip classes.
So our sophomore year, Brighton's like, all right, like, I want to try deer hunting. Or he was like, I've shot one with my grandpa once, but I'm going to shoot another one. And I was like, okay, Brighton. And so, like, a couple of nights later, he's like, hey, man, I'm doing my hunter's education. Will you help me? And I was like, yes, but you shouldn't need help. Like, it's just like, know your target and what's beyond it.
It's just common sense.
Yeah. So anyway, we went over there and helped him, do his hunter's ed thing. And he's like, all right, I'm going out with my grandpa next weekend, to shoot a deer. And he goes out there in classic Brighton. He doesn't know, like, what to wear or anything, so he just wears, Vans, like skinny jeans, and like a hoodie and a flannel.
Kills me.
And so he's in this, like, sweet blind. Like, his grandpa puts a lot of work into his land. Like, it is beautiful, food plots, manicured, like, paths. It's nice.
Yeah.
And so they're sitting in this sweet blind, and, like, there are places that they're not cheating, but they're, like, almost. Like, the feeder goes off at 7:30. Deer are showing up at 7:29. They're just trained to come in. And so Bride's sitting up there in the stand, and sure enough, starts getting light. And then it's, feeder goes off, and here's these deer. And so his grandpa's like, all right, man, like, you pick. And so Bride's, like, kind of looking. He's like, okay, I want the one on the right. That one's bigger. It was like a 9-point, like a really good deer. And so Brian's looking through the scope. He's like, oh, yeah, baby, it's about to be on. And he starts looking at it, and he's like, all right, I'm going to kill this thing. And his grandpa's like, do you know where to shoot it? And Brian's like, yeah, I do. I've shot one with you before. And then he was like, I have no idea where to shoot this thing. And so he's like sitting there looking at it, and he's like, well, I know I'm not supposed to shoot it in the head. I'm like, I probably don't want to shoot it in the butt. So I'm just going to aim in the middle, like, of its body. Like, straight up middle of its body. And I'm just going to shoot it. And so it's like, out there at 100 yards. And he just puts it right in the middle. And just gut shots it. Just drills it right in the guts. And so, he shoots. It jumps and runs off, and they're celebrating and stuff. And the whole time, when they're skinning it, I mean, gut shot, it just, I mean, it smells like poop. Like, just all the rotting grass and corn it's been eating and stuff.
Horrible.
And
Horrible.
And the whole time, Brian's grandpa is like, Orville's like, man, like, my gun needs to get sighted in. I can't believe, like, it's this far off and all this stuff. And deep down, Brian's just like, I didn't know. I didn't know where to
Golly, man.
So, moral of the story, if you do shoot a deer, please aim at right behind its front shoulder.
Right behind the front shoulder. You don't want to gut shot it, and you don't want to spine shot it.
Yes, definitely not.
Both for different horrible reasons, but
yeah, let's just avoid it.
Right behind the front shoulder, you got the heart and you got the lungs. You hit one or the other, ideally both. You're doing great.
Yeah, you're in business.
Yeah.
So anyway, I love that story of Brighton, and just absolutely drilling the deer right in the guts. Which you can, like, there's a couple spots, like, if you hit it good, like, I think liver will kill it pretty fast, but, like, it is just so...
It's not even worth it to try and aim for that.
No, it's kind of one of those things, like, if you have a absolutely atrocious shot, then maybe, like, there's hope for you.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what it boils down to. So, it's just, like, I just felt so bad for him. But I just love that story of him, like, not knowing where to shoot it and just drilling it. But
Having too much pride a little bit.
But he only wanted to do it because all of us were.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my brother. So, like, that's what the kind of thing that gets me stoked is, like, if people around you start, like, doing that, then you're like, I think I want to do it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, why wouldn't I want to do it? So, I don't know. I think, like, it's just cool because whenever there is that culture of hunting around you and fishing too, like, I think we're talking about hunting a lot, but it's just because that's the season.
That's where we're at right now.
Fall, leaves start changing, pumpkin spice comes to Starbucks.
Yeah.
I mean, that time of year, all you can think about is deer and hunting.
Yeah.
And fishing and loving every day.
Hell yeah, brother.
But it's just like, whenever people start getting stoked about it, it's hard not to tag along.
Yeah.
So this is like just a time of year that brings like us a lot of joy. As far as getting out in the woods, it's beautiful. Not usually too much to worry about in the woods as far as snakes and things like that. But I took a group camping a couple weekends ago. took the whole youth group down to southwest Oklahoma, and we're down in the Wichita Wildlife Refuge down there. And so essentially all of western Oklahoma is pretty well known for rattlesnakes, especially like northwest Oklahoma. There's like rattlesnake roundups and like truly like dens of hundreds of rattlesnakes, like Indiana Jones level stuff.
There's like rattlesnake hunting competitions here.
Yeah, like genuine tournaments for it, which is crazy to think about.
I have never been, and I want to go to one just to witness. But
witness the people.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Okie noodling tournament. Like, I just want to go to see how few teeth are there and how many people have different colored eyes and stuff.
Dude, do you remember Sammy P from Carnegie?
Yes, I do.
He does that with his, I think, brother or cousin.
Does the Okie noodling tournament?
No. Does the
rattlesnake roundup down there?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was telling me about it. It was awesome. But anyways.
So anyway, down in the Wichita Mountains, there's a lot of rattlesnakes. I've literally grown up going down there, like hiking, camping, seen them many times, you know. But last 2 weekends or whatever, whenever it was, a few weeks ago, when I was down there, we took a guys group out of the youth group, went down there, you know, just took them out just to really be outside, disconnect from their phones, you know, grow in fellowship with each other and God and everything. They had a great time, but we ended up coming back early because it was just going to thunderstorm all night Saturday. Just not worth the pack up all those, especially disgusting, like, middle school and high school guys.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, there's going to be, like, soggy Cheetos and Doritos and all the tents and mud. Like,
gag.
Not worth it. Yeah.
Just remembering when we went down there.
Yeah, all the trips.
How disgusting we were.
Oh, and you're not showering or anything.
Gosh.
And so... Anyway, so it rains all night Saturday night, and we take the girls group back on Sunday. So my job was literally just to go down there, start fires, just be the resident kind of dad. I'm not a dad that I know of. But just be the resident dad, just cooking, starting fires, whatever kind of guy stuff needed to happen. I would be there to kind of lead hikes and everything. And so... we get down there, and the first stop, you know, is a Mears cheeseburger, pretty legendary spot.
Staple of Oklahoma.
Very good cheeseburger. Maybe a little overrated. It's an experience. I think
Listen, I have fond memories. Haven't been there in a cool one. But, I can't really argue against it right now. So, we'll just let whatever you're saying go off into the airwaves, and we'll see if people get riled up about it or not.
Sure. See if we spark a riot.
I will defend it if I'm prompted to.
Yeah, I just have good memories there. That's pretty much. It's really good after you just cook over a campfire all weekend and you're starving and exhausted and you just want to
fat burger.
Yeah, you want to feast on a really good ground. I think it's literally Longhorn meat. You just want a nice fresh grass fed burger. It's great.
Yeah,
puts you right to sleep for the ride home. Anyway, so we stopped there for lunch. It's kind of drizzling. And after that, I headed to the campsite while all the girls went up to the big mountain there. They wanted to take pictures on top, just classic girl situation. So we get down to camp, and we do a little hike. And I'm like, all right, ladies, so this is how it's gonna go. I'm gonna give you guys all a tent. You're gonna roll them out and put the poles together, and then I'll come around and teach you how to do it. Because I was like, I'm not setting all these up myself. That's just not worth it. And I thought it'd be more fun to kind of teach them and everything. And so we're getting them rolled out and all the poles put together and stuff. And I hear there's a mom that went with us along with a few other kind of girl, volunteers. And she was like, hey, Glenn, would you mind coming over here? I was like, sure, just a second. And she was like, no, would you come over here? And I was like, sure. What do you need? And so I walked over there, and she's kind of hey, there's a snake over here. And I was like, oh, really? And I'm just expecting a little garter snake or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just looked down, and a straight up copperhead, just straight up coiled up copperhead is right at her feet. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it was flat. She had literally stepped on it and flattened part of it. And I was like, did you step on that? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, did it strike at you? She's like, no, it didn't do anything. I was like, well, maybe hopefully this thing's dead, And I go over there and poke it with a stick. Nope, it's fully alive. Literally turns around and hissed at me. So I got a stick and I held its head down. And I kind of look over to the right, and there's literally 30, middle school and high school girls just circled around us. And I was like, I'm sorry, it's what's gotta happen here.
Has to be done.
And I literally just pull out my knife, and it's kind of dull, so I kind of saw through it. So there's this writhing snake, on the ground. And they were all kind of quiet for a second, and then they were like, that was awesome. Literally just triggered their inner primal kill it, nature. So it was awesome. It was super fun, but that is the nice part about the fall is you don't have to worry about that.
Exactly.
Usually. So anyway, it's only the second copperhead I've ever even seen, but dude, I was like, wow, that's no bueno. No bueno at all. So anyway, you never know what's happening in the woods of Oklahoma.
No, it's always an adventure.
It is. And that's what keeps us coming back.
Yeah, you have a story every time.
So, yeah, you really do. Whether it's just I didn't see anything, or it's a close encounter, or maybe you shot something. Whatever it is, you do always have a story.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to tell.
Exactly.
The stories of Oklahoma. But anyway, I guess we'll probably wrap it up here. We appreciate you guys tuning in and hope that maybe you found something from it. But more than anything, we'll start getting into some more specifics as we move through. Probably keep it pretty specific to the time of year as far as things that you can do and chase and try and take. I think it's deer season right now. Fall turkey's coming up. Waterfowl, Oklahoma trout season that's a fun one that I think is kind of overlooked. As far as a couple places in Oklahoma that stock trout seasonally, but also there's places that have them year round. And then we get through all that, and it's just a little cold for about a week, and then it's literally trophy largemouth time, and then it's the spawn and spring turkey, and then it's just full on fishing season.
There's stuff to do all year round here in our great state of Oklahoma.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize it.
No, yeah.
I at school, people would come, from all over, and they'd just be like, "Oh, this place is so boring." It's like one of the most diverse states. Like, we have antelope and alligators.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't. Maybe
That's
Texas.
A to A.
Yeah, maybe A to A. Now, maybe Texas is the only place that also has that. Maybe California, but I don't think they have gators. Nah, they don't have gators. So anyway, it's like we have alligators and pronghorn. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. We got elk. Which good luck.
Yeah, those are tough, but you can get on the witch calls.
You can go see them, and we got freaking buffalo all down there too.
Yeah.
Glenn's favorite animal.
Yeah, I hate buffaloes. Wish they were extinct. Yeah, we got all sorts of stuff. So it's a cool place, a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, our goal is just probably for the next 15 years.
Dun, dun, dun.
But our goal is just, weekly to come out with something that hopefully helps you get out and experience stuff, and hopefully create maybe a community that you can come to learn and hear some different perspectives. And we'll get some people that are really smart, because let's face it, me and Hudson's pretty smart, but my IQ is in the single digits. So
yeah, I'll agree with that one.
I'll stoke your ego.
No, well, yeah, we got some guests lined up. Lined up. They're on our list. That are very knowledgeable about their different kind of specialties, and we also got some guests that are going to have some great stories for you guys, which is also just one thing that we just love to share, like the stories from the outdoors. And I think that is one of the more powerful things that you can do to get people into the outdoors.
Yeah.
Is the stories that are created from just being out. So
yeah, the stories that are created from being out there, the memories that you form, and the number one for me, I think, besides being out in creation, is a connection with other people. Like sharing those stories in the blind, cooking together at deer camp. That's why I go hunting. Is for the camaraderie. Like, if I wanted to just go kill stuff, I don't know what I would do, but maybe go be a mercenary in Ukraine or something. But that's not what it's about for me. That was kind of dark, wasn't it?
whoa.
But it's about the people, and it's about the connections, and so yeah, we'll connect you guys with some of our connections that maybe guide, and maybe have been doing a certain thing for many years, or maybe just have a lot of good stories because they are idiots or gluttons for punishment or whatever it is. Hopefully we'll give you some entertainment. So, and probably spark a few arguments here and there.
Hopefully.
Get some firecrackers going.
But yeah, we're hoping to grow this community. We hope you guys can join us. If you want to join our community, we're on Instagram and Facebook at Yellow Hat Outdoors, and we have our website, which is yellowhatoutdoors.com. We post blogs on there, and these podcasts are going to be up on there as well. And they're also going to be, we're pretty sure everywhere you can get a podcast.
In my mind, they should be.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so check us out on there. See what we're up to. Shoot us any questions. You can email us, comment, whatever. And we hope to see you guys around our campfire.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, just give us a follow, and if you want to and you appreciate it, just tell someone about us and share the news and the message, and we'll get them plugged in and hopefully get some more people out, get some more competition for Hudson out on the public land. So.
Sure.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week.
Thank you all.